We're diving into Danville, Virginia this time, a city that's really kind of reinventing itself and catching the eye of a lot of investors.
Yeah, and what's really cool about Danville is that it's moving away from its traditional industries
That's
and
fair.
transitioning towards more, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, and technology.
Yeah, it's almost like Danville's hitting refresh.
Yeah.
It's got like a really cool new vibe. And we're not just talking potential here.
Hmm.
They already have some pretty big names there, like Goodyear Tire and Rubber Danville, Regional Medical Center, Averett University.
Right, and those companies are really signaling some stability and growth in the area. So it's not just talk, it's really happening.
Yeah. So let's get into the specifics of this deep dive. So we're looking at the Danville portfolio, and that consists of three properties: 324 Cleveland Street, 304 Robert Street, and 126 Banner Street.
Yep.
And together they offer 40 pill units. So a pretty sizable portfolio.
That's right. It's a nice mix of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, and they're all spread across almost 3 acres.
Nice. So what's the price tag on this opportunity? And what kind of return can an investor expect?
Okay, so the Danville portfolio is being offered at $2,914,000, which comes out to a pretty attractive price per unit
Oh.
of $66,227. And one of the things that I think makes this portfolio so appealing is its potential to generate cash flow right away.
Okay.
We're talking about a 6.08% cap rate.
Now hold on a second. For our listeners who might not be real estate experts, what exactly does cap rate mean?
Yeah.
And why is a 6.08% rate considered good?
So cap rate stands for capitalization rate, and it's basically a quick way to assess the potential return on investment for a property.
Okay.
So you calculate it by taking the property's net operating income and dividing it by the market value. So basically, the higher the cap rate, the better the potential return. And in a market like Danville, which is definitely on the upswing, a 6.08% cap rate is a very, very promising sign.
Got it. So a 6.08% cap rate suggests that this portfolio could generate a pretty solid return for an investor. But let's move beyond just the numbers for a second. What about the location? Location is everything in real estate. So what makes these properties stand out in Danville?
Location is key, and the Danville portfolio definitely scores high in that area. Each property is really close to the Dan River and also really close to downtown Danville.
Oh.
So you can imagine just kind of strolling along the riverfront or popping into a cool little cafe downtown. It really offers that kind of lifestyle.
It sounds like a really nice blend of peaceful and urban living.
Yeah.
But how practical is it? I mean, are these properties close to jobs and amenities, things that would appeal to renters?
Absolutely. They're strategically located less than 10 minutes away from some major employment centers like Danville Community College, Averett University, Sova Health, IKEA, Nestle. That's a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
And having that near a diverse range of employers means that there's always going to be a demand for housing, which is huge for any landlord.
So it's not just a pretty location, it's practical too,
Right.
which is great for attracting and keeping tenants. All right, so that's a win-win for an investor. Let's talk about rental growth. What can you tell us about the current rents and the potential for increasing those rents?
Right now, the portfolio is generating a monthly income of $25,405.
Okay.
But here's where it gets interesting. By aligning rents with current market rates, we could potentially boost that monthly income to $33,800.
Wow, that's a big jump. What's driving that potential for rental growth? Are we talking about like major renovations or just bringing those rents up to speed with similar properties in the area?
It's a few things. Danville's rental market is getting more competitive as the city attracts new people and businesses. And the properties themselves are already in good condition,
Right.
which is a fantastic starting point. And there's always room to make a property even more appealing with some strategic upgrades. Even small cosmetic changes can sometimes justify higher rents.
So it's about maximizing the value that's already there and then adding even more potential with those smart upgrades. Okay, now before we get too deep into the financials, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. What about Danville's demographics? Who are the people who live in this city and how are they contributing to its growth?
Danville has a population of about 42,000 people, and it's a city with a really rich history and a really diverse population. And what's cool is that it's not just attracting retirees or young families, it's drawing all kinds of people who are looking for a balanced kind of lifestyle.
So a diverse population with a good mix of ages and backgrounds. What about their earning power? How does the median household income in Danville compare to other cities in the region? And what does that tell us about potential renters for this portfolio?
The median household income in Danville right now is around 50,584%.
Okay.
But here's the exciting part. It's projected to grow by 18.4% over the next 5 years.
Wow.
That means that people who might be living in the Danville portfolio in the future will probably have more disposable income,
That's a great sign.
which is good for rental income and also for property values in general.
That's a really compelling statistic.
Yeah.
I mean, Danville is not just attracting people, it's attracting people who are doing well financially.
Right.
And that's a really good sign for anyone who's thinking about investing in real estate there.
Mm.
Okay, let's focus on the types of jobs people have in Danville. Is it mostly white collar or blue collar? Because understanding that can give us a better idea of who might be renting these properties.
Danville has a really good mix of both white-collar and blue-collar jobs,
Okay.
which means it's got a pretty well-rounded economy, and that diversity is a good thing.
It is.
Because it creates a stable group of potential renters with different income levels and different housing needs.
So we're not putting all our eggs in one basket. We're not relying on one industry or one specific type of renter. And that's great for an investor because it reduces the risk. Now, before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, let's compare the Danville portfolio to other rental properties in the area. We have some information on similar apartments nearby so we can see how these properties stack up in terms of rent and potential.
That's good.
So let's start with the one-bedroom units. When we look at places like Audubon Apartments, Arnett Apartments, and Holiday Village Apartments, we see that the Danville portfolio is priced pretty competitively,
Yeah.
which means there's definitely some room to increase those rents without getting too expensive.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Great news. What about the two-bedroom units? How do they compare?
For two-bedroom units, we can compare it to places like 425 and Floyd Street, Astor Arms Apartments, and Lewis Herald Apartments.
Okay.
And we see a similar trend. The Danville portfolio's rents are right in line with those other properties, or even a little bit lower. So again, there's a real opportunity to boost rental income without scaring away potential tenants.
So it sounds like we're in a sweet spot.
Yeah, we are.
The Danville portfolio is priced right, but there's room to grow those rents and maximize returns. And this is all happening in a city that's on the rise,
Right.
with a growing economy and a diverse population.
Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll take a closer look at the financials
That's right.
and explore some exciting strategies for adding value and boosting those profits.
It's going to be good.
See you there.